Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. Man, that is beyond long.
Look at this. He's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to the Smash Factor, week 33 on the 2022-2023 PGA Tour, our third major of the year, the U.S. Open. This is about leaders getting ready to go off on Sunday, so won't have all the information for the final round here, but enough to get everything going. It'll be a long week of data content, like any major. Everybody gets stuff out a little earlier. I was able to kind of have the schedule where I could get some things out today, have a pretty busy day job, work schedule to start out the week. So want to get ahead and kind of felt there's enough there that could go ahead and get everything out, have the rankings out, my first initial rankings. We'll obviously update those with the final stats from today and do deep dive stats, all that kind of stuff. Probably will do at least one pod, for sure a pod Wednesday with final thoughts and all that. May do another one Tuesday, just kind of an update. We'll see how things go. That would update on, things new here in industry ownership, all that kind of stuff, plus kind of recap how this today winds up. Main slate does not much for me. I think 3, 5, and 6s once again. Mitchell hurt me. He was one of the big ones. I put a deal in Slack this morning. I was prepping for the U.S. Open. I was looking at some stuff and getting ready. I think I was finalizing round 4 lineups as well. Had some decent sweats there. We'll see how that turns out, but it's very early in the round, so we'll see where my Gups final thoughts I started 2 weeks ago, putting like and the members would know, but kind of like some people would ask like for that next up, like who just missed your glorious nucleus article, stuff like that. I always put like 2 from each kind of high, middle, low range. And that lineup heading today would be like really good in any contest. So all those Rose, Lowry, Brandon Wu, Nick Taylor, CT Pan, who's leading it as of this time, again, just getting their rounds going, and Lashley. So had enough pieces there. Kind of feel like I've been missing out not doing some MME stuff, but I hadn't really liked some of the contests and setup lately. I do like how it sets up this week for the U.S. Open. So be back doing some MME there for sure. Some close calls, just nothing great. Betting, nothing real live. We'll see how things wind up today. Some guys in Slack definitely have some sweat, so we're cheering them on. Several guys up there in leaderboards, and there was enough pieces there to do it. You said to get the right pieces put together, but I'll wrap all that up later, Tuesday or Wednesday. If you'd like to join the site right now, this is so I've kind of moved to just really the majors, and then I'll do it for NFL kickoff type stuff. So I'll bring back the 30% off. Code is US Open. Risk-free 7-day trial included in there. 30% locked off for life as long as you stay a member. Everybody that signs up basically through the month of June, I'll actually do it like the Monday after the U.S. Open, will be tossed in for a $200 single entry for the Open, the final major. We had a winner for the U.S. Open. They reached out to me, so I'll be getting that stuff to them. For this week's $100,000 to first. So everybody puts a bullet in that one, so you're not going to be out leveraged the 150 lineup. So I like that. You get a 1, and I think it's like 2,000 people in it chance at 100K for that. So anybody that signs up or upgrades or has already in the month of June all the way through basically the Monday after the U.S. Open will be tossed into that. Listener League should have later on today. I'll drop it. I'll put it in the new pods and post it on Twitter as well. Gups Corner if you want to go check it out. We are at LA Country Club. Definitely hadn't been here forever. I'll leave all the deep dive course stuff to our man Kenny Kim. He'll have it on his podcast. I'm not sure if they're recording tonight. They normally do early when it's a major. Plus, he'll put his full article out on the website, and I'm sure we'll go into it even more, some on E9 Wednesday night when Kenny and I go live for all the members. I just looked at the website, the flyovers, notes, architect stuff, as much as I could, par 70, 7,300, Bermuda throughout, all the way up to the greens. The greens are bent greens, 5 par 3s, 3 par 5s, so a little unusual layout there. There's not a ton of courses that have that. Looks like they can set up the course several different ways, tee boxes, all that kind of stuff. So in general, especially with US Open, just kind of my notes over the last 5 or 6 years, all around game is going to be needed. I do think it'll be fast and firm there. A lot of wetness early in the year, but it's been dry lately. When you kind of look at the 30, 60, 90 days on whatever weather sites you use, I expect quick greens. Not a lot of wind, no rain in the forecast, not going to be hot, 65, 70 most days. So really nice weather. The course will be what's the defense. You won't really have to worry about the weather. But the nice thing about the weather, it's funny, as I'm doing my research, I look at last year's notes, and remember this was the year a lot of us got some of our key guys got screwed because of, I believe it was Friday afternoon, they decided to water the greens kind of in the middle or something to that effect, and it really gave an advantage to some of those PM guys, kind of messed up some of the cut stuff. But I just remember because I looked at one of the showdowns and a lot of guys were not very happy about it. But I don't see that this year as far as, anything like that or weather. I don't think we're going to have a weather draw per se. I think it's going to be clean cut. It's just going to be like making a great pool and deciding where you go, especially up top this week. Cut, I probably think +3, +4, somewhere in that range. Winner, I think it's going to be like the last 3 years have been -6, -6, -6. I think that maybe -7, -8, somewhere in that range. I do think single digit though. Since 2013, only Woodland at Pebble, which remember very good conditions that year, led to 13 under, and then Brooks at Erin Hills back in 2017, 16 under. Everything else have been +1, -9, 5, -4, -6, -6, -6. So I kind of think we see that. I think that's kind of the target where they want it. 1 to 2 under a day, going to give you in the lead or get you right there going into Sunday. Even 1 under a day. I don't think you'll see many people under par by the time we get to the end of the week, which also, we've had a little bit lately, some of these tournaments we've had where that finishing points matter even more. Your ability for your guy to outscore his position can be enhanced, stuff like that. It doesn't really, it's anecdotal when you say that, but there is some things where you go, all right, can this guy really get up there and be in contention? Because there's not going to be, I don't feel like there'll be just a ton of birdies and streaks and bonuses and stuff like that, which puts even more emphasis on those finishing positions. Kind of like we saw at the PGA, and we've seen some of these stuff for tracks as of late. I am looking at good drives, stroke gain irons, opportunities inside 18 feet, birdie or better. Oh, I'm sorry. That is the wrong page. All right. Good irons, good drives, stroke gain irons, good approach, bogey avoidance, par 3 DK scoring, par 5 DK scoring, those 6, and then including obviously recent form, course fit. I pulled in 7 or 8 courses I thought felt somewhat close to, things like that. Kind of can look at the US Open history, a little bit hard, to compare courses, but you can kind of see it's tough conditions. How do they compete? Things like that for sure. One thing to note, so the salary ranges, you get 5 in the 10K, 7 in the 9K, 10 in the 8K, 42 in the 7K, and 86 in the 6K. But of those 86, you have like, what I put them, I have them all in my rankings when you go look at the site, but virtually 45 guys of those 6K range that qualified somehow, don't have stats, recent form, course history. They've qualified through the Open, which this happens every year. So a lot. I don't want to say none of those are viable. There's probably a couple in there that we deep dive into that. Some may be a little bit of Euros, things like that, but it kind of puts the field a little smaller than the 156 or whatever it is. Because there's probably, let's just say 35 of the 44 at least are probably absolute scratch off. So it's not as huge as you would think, and it makes the 6K range not quite as big. But 7K range being 42 is really large. I don't think I've seen over 40 in quite some time. No one in the 12K range, so you keep the top pretty tight. I think it's going to be a good strategy week on construction. I think that's going to be a key. It is every week, but there's going to be so many tight calls, so many fine lines, where you go, who you go with, that the overall construction and contest selection based on how you feel for the week, I think are going to be huge this week as we get into the Open. So 9K and above, I'll keep my same format. I give a little extra bubble boy and something like that. It's early, it's Sunday, so still a lot to be had, but I think enough there that we can get pretty solid feel how we feel, at least coming out of the gates. 9K and above, I'm going to start with Brooks, 10-8. Maybe we get a little bit of people, how he partied or whatever he did after the PGA, and is he satisfied? He's won the PGA and U.S. Open back-to-back before, one of the few that have. So I don't really put that there. And he doesn't like West Coast in general. We talked about this, but this isn't your typical, there's no POA here. It's bent greens. It's Bermuda. I don't really think – I think he'll probably like the course, to be honest. So in his – except for last year, which, this is right before – I think it's right before he announced going to live, if I remember correctly. But – even last year he still made the cut, but before, and he was still kind of bothering the injury or dealing with the injury stuff. But before that, first, second, fourth, so 4 top 5s, similar to what his PGA was. We know he won there. I'm not putting it past him not to be right there again come Sunday, especially a tough track where, we think 5, 6, 7 under is going to win it. I like Brooks. I'm not going to overthink that. Savings off of Scotty is enticing. He's kind of, you get Scheffler, Rahm, him, and then a pretty good drop down, Cantley, Hovland, things like that. So he's kind of in the middle. I could see, and I don't really think anybody's going to get just super high own unless something crazy happens today that boosts some ownership. But, I think it's going to be, there'll be some spots where there's some ownership, but the pricing seems pretty fair across the board, in my opinion. I like Brooks. Probably won't be changed off of that. Hopefully we get a presser or something like that, kind of gauge where he's at. But I just think when it's this time, is game time, he's ready to show up. So I don't really worry about it too much. Xander 9,600, a little bit of price savings. I like that. He's just kind of been there lately. He's not really been up. He's been around the leaderboards. Doesn't ever feel like he was in contention a whole lot, but he rates out really well. 5th and 18th at PGA, 24th at Memorial. This will be where I think his ownership will probably come, is the let me pull something over real quick. The history, 5th, 6th, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 14th. His last 6 U.S. Opens. So in all different styles there. I've mentioned the 2. I think Aaron Hills, 16 under, Pebble, he's still 5th and 3rd. So something about it, right? And then he's obviously a little bit West Coast there, 15th in putting. Man, he just looks all the way around like really, really good this week. Now, the ownership could become an issue. I could see that for sure. No issues there. But I still think the way we've seen these elevated events and majors, we're not going to see just a ton of chalky chalk, anywhere. I just don't think we'll see it. Could see some low-owned guys that everybody seems to be off of. Be interesting to see how Roy finishes today. Does he get the job done? Does he kind of falter on a Sunday again? I'm not sure. I faded him in DraftKings round 4. Sorry, get my notes caught up real quick, getting on the right page. So I faded him, and he came in, some contests as high as I think 45, 50%. That was really the reason why. There was enough guys up there that anything can happen on this course. The penalty boxes are calling it 3 through 6. Can get anybody. It looks like the finishing holes potentially set up to score and some electric fireworks at the end. If he wins, maybe that boosts him more at 9,900. What if he finishes like 3rd, but with a really good day? We'll kind of see. That's the one negative of doing this so early, but I'm just not there right now. And I like Xander. I think I'll stay on him. Could see some ownership go up there, but I don't think it'll be too crazy. Cantley, I'll go back there. I was on Xander and Cantley at PGA. Neither of them did much, but they were there. Xander 18th, Cantley 9th. Cantley looks solid. He's obviously played this course. I think he shot 62 or 63 back either as an AM or in college. I can't remember. 1st in good drives, 8th in bogey avoidance, 1st in par 5 DK scoring, 20th in irons, 5 straight made cuts at the U.S. Open, gotten better for the most part every year, 45th, 21st, 43rd, 15th, 14th. I like seeing that. Price feels good. I think at the 10-3, especially with Hav being 300 under him, coming off his win and a second at PGA, I think Hovland will get talked up pretty well this week. So you could get some low ownership there on Cantley at 10-3 because I think we'll see. Cantley does seem to get steamed at times, but he does have like the negative major deal, although he's been doing better lately. Or does Brooks get cut out? I don't know. One of those two I think will be lower owned than what we would think originally, because I think Hovland gets talked about, obviously Scheffler Rahm, and then the 9K range has plenty of options there. So I like both those guys, Xander, Cantley, Brooks for my top 3. Bubble Boys for me is Scheffler Rahm. I could wind up playing both and fade Hovland, Rory, Morikawa, Spieth. There's several 9K guys that I think I could cut out if I want to play both. I'm interested in both. I am probably pot committed to Brooks unless something crazy comes up where I feel like maybe not all there, but that would put me on maybe just one of these guys, especially for a core, and maybe the other guy comes into that MME type stuff. Right now I lean Scheffler. It's just incredible the run he's on. I assume everybody's going to be thinking that, though. You get a little bit of West Coast stuff with Rahm. We know the narrative there a little bit, Torrey Pines, stuff like that. But my 6 stats, Scheffler's 4th, 1st, 4th, 3rd. His last 4 tournaments, 3rd, 2nd, 5th. So he's 82nd in putting. That kind of tells a story. Can he get somewhat of a neutral putter this week? He's ball striking as good as we've seen on a pretty much a historical run right here on ball, tee to green, ball striking, whatever you want. So I like him. I'm just going to have to see kind of how the week goes on with that ownership. And I don't mind Rahm either. I could pivot to both. I could play Scheffler, Brooks, and Rahm. And then, like I just said, cut out a lot of the 9K range so I could have those and still have a pretty decent pool without, overspread myself up top. I could see that happening for sure. I think what happens with Rory today's will matter. Some of these lower guys who could make runs, Fleetwood, Hatton, those kind of guys, could they boost some ownership and give some, some chalk to pivot off there? Potentially. We'll keep an eye on that for sure. AK range, Hatton kind of had a bad day yesterday, coming off, I think, the 8 under on Friday. I think I have that right. We'll see how he bounces back today. I was kind of off of him. He's off to, I think he's one that just went off. I think he had birdie start, but a lot of guys have been birdieing 1 and 2. But he's on a good, I loved him this week. I was on a main slate. A 5th, a 15th, a 12th coming into here. Okay, U.S. Open history, nothing crazy. Miscut 6th, 21st, miscut 56th. But profile-wise, great. 4th in stats, 4th in recent form, 10th in course history, 14th in putting. I think he's kind of gotten better with the whole this course sucks or this setup sucks type of deal. But, because I think this week's been kind of tough, and he's kind of battled through it. I think they'll set up LACC fair but firm is kind of what I'm thinking. And so I don't really bother. But the 8,900, Tambo, Best Buy pricing, if he makes a run today and finishes top, 10 or 5, he could become kind of a chalky spot, but I don't mind him right now. I have to go by with what we have. Matsu, I think somewhat under the radar, really coming in form, a 23rd, a 29th, and a 16th. He's made 6 straight U.S. Opens, a 2nd, a 16th, 21st, 17th, 26th, 4th. So kind of like Xander, but like a baby Xander, but he's also 1,000 cheaper. 26th or better in all of them. Top 17 and 4, 2 top 5s. So I like Matsu a lot, especially, firm, fast, pure bent greens. I think that's kind of his deal. I really like him a lot. Could be a good bet as well. Finau, a little iffy on 8,800. I think he could be if like a Hatton gets popular, maybe he's a good pivot. Stat-wise, he looks great. He's 6th in the field, 20th, 8th, 17th, 19th, 19th, 23rd in all 6 categories. So top 23 or better in everything. 8th in irons, I really like that. So you get the total package there. Not the best form coming in. 72nd at the PGA, miscut at Charles Schwab. In a roller coaster U.S. Open history, 5th, miscut, 8th, miscut. If he was chalky, I could see myself talking myself off of him by the time we get to Wednesday. But as it lays right now, I certainly, he's high. He's 8th in my overall model. Like the price. we'll see how some of the pieces around him come in. Because right there, I like all those guys. Matsu, Finau, and Hatton. I could see a JT, when we get to Wednesday final ownership, and he's that low owned. Is anybody going to touch him? Kind of squeezed right there between all that. 8,700. I mean, 8,700 for JT. We hadn't seen that forever. He's got decent history. So, he could be a good pivot. We'll see how that shakes out as well. My bubble boys, one of them I'm going to take a chance on. I just don't know which one. DJ, Cam Young. They're both two of my faves. DJ hadn't played horrible. He's just been okay. He did really good on Live and then just okay at the PGA. But 3rd at Shinnecock, 6th at Wingfoot, 35th at Pebble, 19th at Torrey, mixed the cut at Erin Hills, 24th last year, 8,300. I just don't know if he'll get much ownership. Cam Young, I don't know. We'll see how he finishes today, but he still doesn't look that far off. It really seems like he's super close. And so the only thing that makes me fear he still will get ownership is he's 8,000 flat. I may want to play him both and probably will in MME, but, Cam Young does not have a good, he made the cut here, but before that, miscut. He's played 3 U.S. Opens, miscut in all 3. I don't know that I would play if I thought he was going to be remotely popular, unless he just comes out finishing on fire today, because he just hasn't been there, the complete package. I really feel like you need that complete game on good recent form coming in to a U.S. Open challenge. But that's why they're bubble boys, right? We'll see how that shakes out. 7K range, Fowler, 7,500. I like him a lot. Nothing crazy in the Opens, but 4 straight made cuts. When he played, he hasn't played the last 2 years, but a 5th, a 20th, a 43rd, and a 49th. Coming off 2 top 10s at the Charles Schwab and the Memorial, a 6th and a 9th. Stats looking as good as they have in probably 2 or 3 years. 4th in irons, 11th in bogey avoidance, 10th in par 3, 12th in par 5. Good drive, 66, maybe a little concern there, but the price tag, you get a top 30 plus upside, really top 25 you probably want. For most of your guys, you probably want to try to get 6th in the top 25. Price feels good. He is a fan fave, though. We'll kind of monitor. He's one of those Spieth type. I won't say quite Tiger, but his ownership can zoom up there. I might as well say Thigala at this point. I can't project him high enough. No matter what I think or go, there's a following out there that he just steamed up more than anybody that I don't expect. Like sometimes I expect – a Fowler or Spieth or whatever, I just may not move him high enough. Thigala, he gets some love out there. But Fowler, 7,500, he's on my radar. Siwoo, 7,300. Coming in good form. I can't remember how he's doing in this tournament, if he made the cut or not. But 2nd at AT&T, he missed the cut at PGA. 29th at Charles Schwab, 4th at Memorial. 7th in good drives, 18th in irons, 10th in good approach. Probably one negative is really hasn't done much in the U.S. Open environment. A 13th back at Erin Hills, and then miscut, 40th miscut. That would be the one negative, just kind of that history in this environment. But I do think he's playing some of his best golf all the way around right now, so I don't mind him at that price tag. Rose, he's a guy. That's another one I left out a little earlier. That he's 2 back going into today. See how he finishes. He's coming in off a 9th and a 12th. His game just looks really good right now, all the way around. I liked him a lot this week. He was one of those guys I mentioned that was in the kind of next up core, just missed core piece. Miscut 10th, 3rd, miscut 37th, the last 6 Opens. Some peaks there, a top 10, a 3rd. Guy like that. He's won the U.S. Open. That was, I think he was the oldest. 2013 at Marion. So I like him a lot. If he wins today, does that boost him a lot? 7,700, you got to think it does. So maybe kind of hoping he just kind of gets a little top 10, 11, or maybe top 8, 8th place or something that doesn't make him too chalky at that price. There's so many guys in the 7K range, though, that I think it'll get spread out. 42, and there are a lot of solid plays, right? They can't price everybody up. So I like him a lot. My bubble boys are 2 guys I think could be popular. Wyndham Clark will be a big one to watch. Let a ton of people down at PGA Championship. Was a complete fade for me. I had none of them. It helped out to almost a break-even main slate. I think we did good on – I can't remember how the round 4 finished. But 12th – it came back and had a 12th at Memorial. Stat-wise, he looks tremendous. 10th in irons, 30th in drives, 12th in approach, 3rd in bogey avoidance, 13th in par 3, 38th in par 5, 22nd in putting. Everything about him looks great. I just wonder if anybody will feel, especially bringing all the public that may have got bit by him. But that's why he's a bubble boy. I don't know if I go back there if he's popular again. I faded him at the PGA. We'll see. And then Fleetwood. He's one that's up there, kind of like Rose, 7,900. See how he finishes today. He already is a guy I like in these type of events where I think it's going to be low or high, however you look at it. Single-digit scoring wins it. He's got a 4th, a 2nd, a 65th, a miscut, a 50th, and a miscut his last 6 U.S. Opens, 18th at PGA, where it was tough to score, and miscut at Charles Schwab. So I like them. They're bubble boys mainly for ownership reasons for me. 6K range, again, it's big, but I think you're cutting out close to 40 that you can just automatically red X, as Bobby would tell us in college football. So not as big as normal. Kind of like the PGA, but PGA you had 20, PGA pros. Here you got 40 that have like virtually nothing. That's not including the live guys that don't have nothing, but I can at least look up that kind of stuff. Svensson 7,800. I played him quite a bunch, and he shines at times, but he does struggle to put 4 rounds together. But again, we're going down the 6K range. I'm looking for upside there. First U.S. Open, 40th at the PGA. So I do like he made the cut at the PGA. Stat-wise, he looks solid. 11th at good drives, 31st in bogey avoidance, 12th at par 3 scoring, 31st at par 5, 21st in putting. There's enough positives there for my 6K guys. I definitely don't see myself getting off of him. Sam Stevens, the guy we've been riding for a while. Times he leans on the putter. Sometimes the putter brings him down. 4 straight made cuts. Been playing a lot. 49th last year at the Open. So some experience if that matters. But 6th in good approach, 21st in good drive. Those are 2 big stats I'm looking at for $600. I like the kid. I definitely will have some shares this week, no doubt. Dylan Wu, 6,400. Just a great price. He could be a guy that gets a little bit of love. Had a little bit of bad front 9 yesterday on round 3, but finished strong. I think he finished even because he got 3 birdies on the back. We'll see, if he makes a little move today. He's not going to get up there or anything, but if he finishes solid at that price, he's just been playing, some good peaks. He's missed some cuts though, but 31st at Torrey 2 years ago. He did get to play in the U.S. Open there. He's a guy I definitely have my eye on. 2 bubble boys, and really maybe for some ownership type stuff. Patrick Rogers, West Coast guy. We'll hear that quite a bit. Don't know how much it matters this week, unless they really have played this course, because I don't profile this as a, like your Torrey Pines or, and really the Poana type stuff. This is Bermuda grass. So I know they call the rough a little bit different type of Bermuda, but still. 3 straight made U.S. Opens that he's been at, 41st, 31st, 31st. So hasn't done a lot with them, but, top 30, 6,900 could be in the picture there. 3 straight made cuts on tour. He's had a pretty good 6-month run overall. If he's familiar at all with the territory or area, that's some deep type of stuff I haven't got into yet, but 8th in good drives, 15th in good approach, mid-pack everywhere else, 23rd in bogey avoidance. I like that on a week like this. 29th at the PGA Championship. Just had a pretty decent showing there. So I like that at 6,900. I do think it could come with some ownership. And then Carson Young, I think he was the highest owned in 6K this week. Up and down this week, but I think he was sitting 4 or 5 under going into today. I think he's had a couple birdies, couple bogeys so far. We'll see how he finishes, but 6,900. I don't think it'll keep many off of him. 21st at Charles Schwab, 14th at AT&T. I want to say the week of the Charles Schwab's when him and I know Eckroth for sure, but I know he was one of them that shot a really good U.S. Open qualifying score. So good price. We'll see the ownership. There's enough down here, though, of some decent options. Low 7K flat, really. Eckroth I just mentioned. Min Woo's there. And then high 6s that I think it'll spread out on a little bit, that you won't see too much of a chalk anywhere. You see like we've seen in the last couple elevated or PGA where you see 4, 5, 6% on 7, 8, 9 of those guys. Fade of the week for me right now will be Morikawa. We'll hear about the injury concern. I'm sure it's nothing at this point. I've had back spasms. I have bad back in general, football and all that stuff, but shouldn't be an issue, but we don't know. And then, if not that, you would normally get him pretty hyped up for West Coast golf, a 5th and a 4th, his last 2 U.S. Opens, 26th and 29th going into the Memorial where he withdrew. He was 2 shots out of the lead, so it had to be, for sure he couldn't go. He wouldn't have quit. But he's just an interesting thing to keep an eye on. I hope he gets up there. Him or Hovland will probably, if people just move off of Morikawa, I think Hovland will be popular, and I may pass on that this week. We'll deep dive into that and get into that Tuesday and Wednesday. Sleeper of the week, I don't know ownership right now, even close. Eric Cole has my eye. He started out pretty good this afternoon. Still got a little ways to go, but he was back there. But he was having I just like the grinder mentality, right? 15th at the PGA, 29th or 23rd at AT&T. He was on. I think he was in my core article this week. I liked him this week. No reason to get off of him. He's right at that 7K range that I like. We'll see how he finishes today. But he's a guy I have my eye on that could be lower owned. And then Eckroth that I've already talked about, former Poke, second at AT&T, 16th at Charles Schwab, 30th at Memorial. So he's really shown really good improvement and good finishes as of late. And he was one of the guys that shot pretty low, I think, at his qualifier. But I like him. We'll see how those guys kind of come in if they get steamed up. I really don't see a whole lot of guys down there getting much higher than that 5-6% with many options that I do see. Some gut feel plays like Cam Davis, 7,200, Cam Smith, 9K. Really interested to kind of see, especially that 9K. He's right above Hatton, right above Finau. He could be low owned again. And I know the driver concerns could be there because if you get way off track here, wide fairways, but if you do get way off track or miss, you can be hurting in a hurry. That would probably be a good MME leverage play if he does stay low owned. I like him. He had no pun intended, but burned us at the PGA. I think I had pretty decent amount there. But I don't mind going back there. I think he can do well this week. Reed, I like him at tough tracks in general. He always going to go low owned, especially something like this. Pretty good U.S. Open history. Last 6 years, a 13th, a 4th, a 32nd, a 13th, a 19th, and a 49th. He finished 18th at the PGA Championship. And then Mito, continue to like him. I can't remember what he was at the PGA as far as ownership, but fairly low. 18th there, second or whatever he was. That one still hurts at the PGA last year, tough track. So 7,200 is a really good price for Mito. That's a gut feel play I like as well. Betting top 5 that pop and 2 long shots, very early edition. Links in the description for underdog or price picks, dollar for dollar match up to $100. Get on some NBA action for tomorrow if you want. I'll have my round ones out on Wednesday, and then I give up nightly price picks, round 2, round 3, round 4 with my matchups. Underdog has their huge NFL best balls going. There'll be so much coverage on that as it continues to grow. 15 million in the big pot this year. You can go check that out. Plus, they'll have weekly golf ones and pick 'em matchups for them as well. My top 5 that pop for me right now, and these odds will change. I haven't locked in anything. I released a couple early bets for this, but as far as these numbers, I have not locked in. Xander 20, Cam Young 40, Ricky Fowler 80, Matsu 50, DJ 40, and Fitz 30. Those are all as of this afternoon numbers. They'll reshuffle in the morning, see how they look. 3 long shots that I like right now: Siwoo 100, Reed 100, and Mito 100. Some one and done early preliminary for me. Fitzpatrick, Xander, Scheffler, Brooks, and Cantley. Obviously, if you have Rahm, you have Rory. You're getting down now where you can, if you're really in the mix, you can kind of go, all right, plot out till we get to the FedEx type stuff. Depends on how long your contest goes, and kind of see who you want to use. And if you need to make up ground, you may go down to someone that's going to be lower owned, or if you did say one of these guys and it's like, I'm just hypothetically, let's say it's Rahm and he's already been used like 79%, well, maybe you use him now because there's not many people that can use them. So that strategy starts coming into play as we get towards, the second half of the season. Well past that, probably got 10 weeks left or so, 8 weeks left. You got 2 majors, I think 2. I know there's an elevated event, right? So maybe 4 big events left, depending on how long your season goes. So, anyways, great. Get us kicked off. I'm looking forward to the week. I think the industry and listening to kind of see what strategy points are. Do people want to go balance this week? Is there enough down low that people like? I think there is. Where they're going to try to get their 1 or 2 up top. Which range becomes kind of? I could see the 9K to an extent. I can see people. I mean, Rory, Spieth, Homa, Morikawa, Cam Smith, Fitzpatrick. We'll see how Fitzpatrick finishes today. He was 6 under starting today. I can see people just going, all right, I'm off that. I don't really love any of that. I kind of like Fitz. I kind of like Cam Smith. And then Xander being the chalky 9K guy. I can see people going 10Ks, pick who they like there. Maybe Xander or maybe one guy, and then get some 8s and load down in the 7s and maybe pick a 6 off. So that's preliminary. We'll see how it shakes out. Hope you guys have a good Sunday. I'm going to go watch the end of the golf. We'll get the race fired up here in a minute as well. And we'll be back Tuesday. Worst case, premium members, I'll have the first rankings out this evening as well. Thanks. Have a good day.